How big a factor do you think race was in Trump's appeal?
I do think it was a sizable factor because Donald Trump began his political ambitions in earnest, really, the modern version of his political ambitions, by advocating birtherism, by basically being the leader of the birther movement, this idea that President Obama wasn't born in the United States and that we needed to see his birth certificate. And even after we did, that there must be something nefarious there. It's not a real birth certificate. It was manufactured. The questions about President Obama, where did they come from and why did they start about this president as opposed to any other president? This idea that he was an other. He didn't give up birtherism. He didn't give it up until the very end of the campaign, the late summer of 2016, when he was polling at 1%, I believe, with African Americans, when it was politically expedient for him to do so. He needed to convince African American voters that he was not a racist. And if he couldn't do that, he needed to convince white voters who may not want to vote for who they think is a racist that he was not a racist. So that's why that got changed. But when I would talk to folks, and this was not an uncommon thing to hear at the rallies, when President Obama's name would be mentioned, people would call out, he's a Muslim. People would say to me, I don't like him because he doesn't have Western values. Well, what do you mean by that? I mean, it would take a few questions, but you'd ultimately get to, well, I think he's a Muslim.
Someone who was opposed to Trump.
Somebody who liked Trump
would say that about another
would say that about President Obama.
I see.
And the reason why they're supporting Trump, they'd say Trump is a supporter of Western values. He looks like America looked like when I was growing up. Vague ways of getting to this man is an older white man and he's going to bring things back to what it was like in the 1950s.